Hello and welcome to Talking Golf with Gary. This week, the dynamic Gary will introduce you to all kinds of topics pertinent to this past week of golf. He'll give you some tidbits of information as what's coming up and take you on a tour around the world for all of the golfing highlights. Sit and enjoy Talking Golf, Gary.
And hello and welcome to another edition of Talking Golf. There we go. Talking Golf with Gary. Hope you had a great week out there. Lots of action to get to, so let's get to it because I got a great guest and really want to bring him on. Justin Rose overcame a few nervous moments in the early of the final round, early holes of the final round, that is, with enough key putts down the stretch for a 3-under-69 to hold off Adam Scott and win the Farmers Insurance Open on Sunday. Rose had a 3-shot lead, sank to a single shot when he opened with 3 bogeys in 5 holes, and John Rahm made birdie on the par 5 sixth. Rose answered with a bold play on the next hole for a short birdie, restored his lead at the turn, and then kept in front of Scott, who birdied his last 4 holes for 68. Rose finished at 21 under for a 2-shot victory, becoming the first player since Peter Jacobsen in 1995 to post all 4 rounds in the 60s at this event. Rose won for the 10th consecutive year worldwide, including his gold medal at the 2016 Olympics, and expanded his lead to at number 1 in the world. His 10th victory on the PGA Tour gave him the most of English players, breaking a tie with Nick Faldo. He also won with a new set of clubs, having left TaylorMade after 10 years and signed an endorsement deal with Japan-based Honma. Rose also won without his regular caddy Mark Fulcher, who had a heart procedure last week. He used Gareth Lord, the former caddy of his longtime Ryder Cup partner Henrik Stenson. Hideki Matsuyama closed with a 67 and tied for third with Taylor Gooch, who shot 68. Gooch, who finished 4th last week in the Desert Classic to get into this event, earned a spot in next week's Phoenix Open. He's playing this year on conditional status. Tiger Woods had to settle for his own version of winning. Starting the final round 13 shots behind, Woods wanted to get into double figures. He birdied his last 2 holes for a 31 on the front 9 to shoot 67 and finished at 10 under 278. Bryson DeChambeau claimed his first European Tour title with style, producing a closing 64 to win the 30th anniversary edition of the Omega Dubai Desert Classic by 7 shots. The world number 5 had set himself the target of securing his first professional overseas win at Emirates Golf Club ahead of the event, and he duly delivered, carding an eagle, 7 birdies, and a single bogey on day 4 to finish the week at 24 under and set a new tournament record. Englishman Matt Wallace finished alone in 2nd place with a 17 underscore after closing his round with back-to-back birdies to sign for a 68th. Paul Waring, Ian Poulter, Leo Hailtung, and the Spanish pair Sergio Garcia and Alvaro Quiros were another stroke back in a tie for 3rd. So congratulations go out to Justin Rose and Bryson DeChambeau, both winning their respective tournaments, and did it with style and record-breaking scores. So congratulations to both of them. Got a great guest. We want to bring them on as soon as we can. So we are going to take a break right here and be back after this message.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and BaseballTalkRadio.com.
And we're back, and we have been talking so much about the entire golf swing and really sometimes skip the most important part of the game of golf, and that is putting. But we're going to address that today. Joining me today is John Dunigan. He is a PGA Master Professional, speaker, and author, a Golf Digest Top 50 teacher, and a Golf Magazine Top 100 teacher. And he has a book out called Hold It, Master Putting's 3 Essential Skills. He's here right now. John, thanks for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it very much.
So, John, can we really master putting in 3 easy steps?
Well, I'm going to have to rephrase that. There are 3 essential skills that you have to master putting.
Okay.
And, yep, you can absolutely do it. Absolutely. In fact, and I'll tell you what, if your readers did one thing only, and just try to stop the ball right at the hole, maybe, okay, fine. If you want to be inside 10 feet, try to stop the golf ball just past the hole between the back edge and, a foot and a half past.
Mm-hmm.
I call it the end zone. And then anytime, honest to goodness, outside of 10 feet, just stop it right at the hole. One, you'll find that you can't stop it on a dime. That's all there is to it. But you'll make a ton more putts and stop 3-putting fast. That would be the easiest thing. And here's the funny thing. Most people are just goofing around with their stroke nonstop. All the training aids in the world are based on stroke. And the stroke isn't the skill. You got to stop the ball, you got to read greens, and you got to start it on your line. But it is amazing how much better people putt when they don't putt to not miss, or they don't putt to make the putt, but they just try to stop the ball. All of a sudden, the hole starts getting in the way. It's pretty cool.
So, do you think it's like almost like a psychological thing? Then we have this thing in our head that we've got to get it in the hole, and it just doesn't compute or whatever it is.
Well, mental controls physical, so that's a 100% factual statement.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens when people putt the consequence? It's a part of what I talk about in the book. They're no longer doing the things that are required to putt. The stress level goes up because they're concerned with the result instead of the process of making the putt. It's that simple.
And the stroke is the least part of it, if I'm understanding this?
If you look on tour, there's a whole bunch of weird-looking strokes that are making putts.
Right.
Now, truly, so I saved for the book, I saved the putting stroke mechanics for the back of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And even with my own golf academy, I don't do just putting. I do, full swing a ton and on course and short game. But you'll see that people get to change their stroke when something about the stroke is influencing their execution of the skills. But everybody goes to stroke first rather than, okay, what are the damn skills? If you ask, and I've done it to every single student, okay, so what are the skills of putting? Oh, stroke is the first one. And I'm sorry, that doesn't do it. In fact, I would say this. If you can hit your line repeatedly, your stroke's good enough for me. Let's go learn how to putt. People stop at putting stroke thinking that's putting.
Right.
That's not true.
So all we've been taught over these years, this is not true.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, like eyes. Your eyes have to be over the ball, correct?
Right.
That's a load of crap, too. Sorry, folks.
That's fine. It's very interesting because the more I talk to people like yourself, a lot of the things we've been talked about for years, even with the full stroke, the full swing, is almost like a myth or a lie,
Yeah, we just made that stuff up, baby.
Yeah. I mean, in a full swing of it, keeping your head still and all of that kind of stuff, and this arm straight and that arm straight, and as you say though, if you watch on TV, there's all kinds of different swings, and it all works for some reason or the other.
Right, because again, that's but so part of my whole mission in life is to help influence the game of golf from more of a skill-based perspective. And yeah, of course, your mechanics definitely matter.
Right.
But people are being misled to thinking it's all about the mechanics. And then on top of that, there's a softer skill. Like I had a You would love this. I'm one of my superstar young ladies, kid I love very much. She's, I look at her swing and I go, I don't know, I got nothing for you. This is awesome. But she's not quite hitting the ball dead center of the club face, right? And she's looking for an answer why. And I said, hey, could you do me a favor? Could you just move the contact point on the face one dimple more toward the heel? And, she gives me a little look, but she goes ahead and tries it, and she does it. And I go, okay, just remember the term soft skills. What'd you do different? She goes, I don't know. I said, okay, well, what do you got? She goes, I don't know. I go, right. Stop getting all bent out of shape about stuff. You can't even tell how you do it, right?
Right.
So there was nothing wrong with the stroke. She just needed to try to use one of the softer skills, try to hit it more sweet spot. And she could do it without thinking about how to do it. That's a huge deal. So, one of my favorite parts of my instruction, full swing, chipping, whatever it is, putting, is this. Humans are expert tool manipulators. That's what we're born for, just about, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's been since forever that we started using tools. It's hardwired into us. But they're not real good with how to use the tool. They're real good with just use the tool. They're not real good with my elbow needs to be at a 30-degree bend. I need to have 5 degrees of external rotation. They're not real good with that at all, but they're real good with tool use. So I think that we could really take a lot of the confusion and anxiety and angst out of the game of golf, which is my mission, by getting them to learn how to use the tool. And you would be amazed at what I can do to people's bodies motion when I focus on how they use the tool. It's amazing.
It certainly is, and as you say, there are so many different styles out there and so many different ways.
So which one's the right way then? Darn it!
Well, that's the point, right? I mean, right. You wouldn't want to copy Jim Furyk's swing, but yet it works for him.
Yeah, I mean, right. He's my leading example. He knows the secret of golf. You ready for the secret of golf?
I am. I've been looking for
change your life right here. The secret of golf is the ability to predict. If I do this with my club, the ball will do that. That's what people should be focusing on more than anything. I like to say, all right, so what's the ball's job in golf? Go ahead.
To get into the hole.
Right. What's the club job?
To get the ball to go into the hole.
Yeah. Right. Well, I like to say send it there, right?
Okay.
And what's your job?
To try. No, see, I shouldn't say try, though. That's negative.
That's right. There is no try. There is do or do not.
Right.
Right? Your job is to swing the club.
Right.
Now, if you ask the vast majority of golfers, how many golfers out there are actually trying to do their job, swing the club, so that the club will influence the ball? How many are actually doing the club's job, just trying to hit the golf ball, and nobody's left to tell the club where to go?
Not too many.
Not too many, man. I'm telling you, it's what's killing the game of golf. I think the big thing about golf that why the game doesn't grow enough for me is that we're misled a bill of goods, so to speak, on how to learn it. That is not successful enough. But if we just taught people how to use the tool, we could make a massive improvement in the level of enjoyment in golf.
Well, I think too that we're our own worst enemies. I mean, we take everything, and I know myself. I do it myself too. I mean, you're standing on the first tee, and then you're thinking about keeping your left arm straight. Don't move your head. Don't do this. Don't do that. Shift your weight. Blah blah. And before you know it, you can't do anything because you just your mind, instead of just I took a hole. I was playing terribly, and I took a hole, and I tried not to think about anything. I probably hit my best drive of the day.
Okay, you better remember that one. So, hey, let me ask you a question. When you were thinking about your left arm, or goodness knows, your left third eyelash from the outside corner of your eye, where was the golf club and where was the target?
Who knows?
Right. Well, those things don't matter anyway. Right?
No, it does matter, but I get what you're saying. I mean, with too much in thought about what we're going to do and not thinking about what we want to do.
We are
does that
doing
sound right?
what we'd call an internal focus. You're focused on how you swing the putter, when anybody worth his salt is focusing on hit the ball to there. Are you doing putting stroke or are you doing putting to the target? It really is that simple. And so that's why you don't touch somebody's golf swing until you get their head straight about what their task really is, whether it's a putting stroke or anything else.
Right.
First, what are you trying to do here? Well, I'm trying to start the ball on my line. I've heard that from really, really good players. Well, that's fantastic, except that's one of this. And what does start the ball on that line have to do with stopping the ball next to the hole, or what I would call hitting the ball at the right speed so the hole can catch it? Well, nothing. So you can't do just line. In fact, we should use our practice time indoors and maybe away from the golf course to make sure we hit our line all the time, so we trust that. So that when we go to the golf course, after you make a good read, you just try to hit it the right distance, or like I call it, stop the ball.
Mm-hmm. And how do we improve that? How do we learn that? How to read and to get the proper line, and how does that all come about?
Okay, well, that's that question and more are in the book. But you could learn from an aim point green reading instructor, and it's a brilliant way to read greens. You can look for the tilt of the slopes. You can use something like my putting tee and kind of look at the tilt of the slope. Okay, aim the putting tee up the slope at where you would want to aim to have the ball roll down the hill. I mean, truly speaking, why do balls break? Because they roll down hills, right? If you can discover where the hill is going, you can have a big foot forward. Then it's experience of, okay, I see this much tilt in this direction. Let me try aiming a foot over. But then wait a minute. Then you have to determine, to read the green better, did you start the ball on your line before you evaluate whether the read was off? Was it a line problem or read? So then, like my putting tee training aid, you can roll it down this little, roll it down the tee, and you can see whether it was on your line, then what the read was. And Dave Pelz makes a great training aid called the Putting Tutor, Tutor, and the same kind of thing. You can see if you've actually hit your line on breaking putts. And it doesn't take that long. What you end up with is a whole bunch of references for this much tilt. And you can see the tilt or feel the tilt. Now, other than that, you might understand where you're standing relative to the slope, and that's all in the book. That would be a long discussion to really get into that.
Right.
To develop the line by trying to hit the ball like down my putting tee, or hit the ball indoors for winter, give me 2 D batteries and put them just outside the width of the ball, and put those 2 D batteries 1 foot away from your golf ball, and see if you can putt in between those. That's a great way to do it indoors, to go, oh my goodness, I can hit it on line all day. And, on a golf green, you might use 2 tees in the ground, try to putt in between. It's called a ball gate.
Right.
And anything like that's going to help us. Anything like that. And then for stopping the golf ball, the first point I have to make, I do this all the time. Okay, we're going to stand 10 feet apart. I want you to throw the ball to me. And you'll see that you do that with no thought and the most effortless, lovely way. Right? It's really cool. Now we're going to putt the exact same way. We're going to look at the target and just roll the ball. And you're going to get feedback. Either the ball rolls too far, too short, or just right. And then you just go somewhere else and putt again. But the whole idea is, if the target's not clear in your mind, you're dead meat. Right? Now you're just what I call standing in the field waving a stick.
Right.
So, if you want to putt great, fast as far as speed goes, start looking at the hole. Then, and this is called the 3-step process to putting out of your mind from the book, then what you could do is look up at the hole, then take a mental picture, close your eyes, and see if you can still see the hole in your mind's eye picture. Then putt. How clear was that picture relative to actually looking at the hole? The clearer that gets, the better your visualization. And when the target's clear, your brain learns without any interference from you, so to speak. Right? You don't have to tell yourself, well, I hit that too hard. Your brain already figured it out.
Right.
And let your brain learn. And I would highly recommend that you let your brain learn from different distances, not the same distance over and over again, because that will shut down the learning pretty quickly.
Right. Well, I like the idea of the tossing as well, because as you say, I mean, for those, a lot of us that have played baseball in our lifetime, and you do have that feeling of getting the ball right to the person, and yet why don't we do the same theory, if you will?
Because you're busy paying attention to where your damn elbows are.
It is true. So it bother you. You don't consider whether it's people are handsy or shoulder turns with the putting stroke. None of that it concerns. It's all got to do with the speed and reading the greens and the line.
And your line. Always go there first. Always, always, always. Go stroke mechanics when you have a problem executing the skills, but people go in reverse order.
Right.
They go the last place is how to do it. The first place is what to do with the ball.
Now, I think, and I guess I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit here, but I wonder if people, because of we seem to be rushed around the golf courses nowadays, rangers come and they want you to move and everything, and we don't take as much time in the putting. How do we quicken the pace up of it?
Give me 12 to 15 seconds of your time. That's all I need. And if that's playing too slow, you got to hang out with some different people.
Well, I know we should be working on the 15 other shots it takes to get to the green.
All right, we want to go like this. Okay, for any shot in golf, it's more than 15 seconds. You're I don't know what you're doing, but it ain't golf. Like, it drives me nuts how slow they play on tour. It's unforgivable. Reading the green is not that hard. It's a slope, right?
Yeah.
And then you get that real quick, and you get more experience. So you're not going to get green reading right away. Now, if you do something like aim point, which I love, I've been doing it for 7 or I guess this is my 8th year of doing aim point. I think it's fantastic. You go up there, you look, you give it a little feel for the tilt, and you have an idea. Then you get up there and you draw your spot in the ground. Okay, I'm going to putt it 2 feet to the right of this cup, right there. And then you visualize that spot on the green you're going to putt it to, and you're going to stop it right on that spot. And then you just hold that spot in mind and putt. That doesn't take very long at all. It takes a lot longer than the 5 practice strokes people are taking trying to figure out, whether they're stroking it perfectly or not.
Yeah, right. And do you find that people don't practice putting enough?
I find that people, one, they don't practice anything enough, and when they do practice, they practice like poop anyways.
Yeah,
but
true.
If I could just have a couple minutes, give me 5 minutes before you putt.
Right.
Do a little bit of distance stuff, putt to a single tee for your line, go play. You'll putt better, guaranteed. And if you want to putt really good, if you want to be a competitive golfer, do 4 putting drills from the book. Right? If you want to be a really good, high level putter, give me an hour and a half to 2 hours per day of putting. Do different drills. Do your mechanic work every day. Right? That's fine. But man, don't stop there. Like, I've seen it so many times where people have their putting training aid out on the putting green, and they're on the putting green an hour later still standing in the same place with the same training aid. This is a colossal waste of time. All they've done is work their stroke mechanics. They haven't done anything as far as the decision-making and execution of doing putting. It's pretty silly, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. But we do a lot of silly things out on the golf course.
Well, think about it, man. What do? We get up there, we bash the ball as far as we can, run up there, find it, and then only to do it again. So it's a little silly to begin with, I guess.
Well, I think we just overthink the game. You hit a good shot, and then you come up and you think you can do it again, and then you keep thinking about what did I do the last time, and you end up topping the ball or just hitting a crummy shot, or secondly, on your second shot, and then you're in the hole, and almost putting becomes like an afterthought.
An interesting point would be what I call, the myth of consistency. People plea for consistency all the time. I go, okay, you got the wrong coach because it ain't coming. They can't. The Ping folks. Somebody at Ping told me they can't get their robot, their $2 million robot, to fire the same way twice in a row. Our chances are nil. Consistency is not coming. You get hot, hopefully for a whole round, and then you're not. And that's just how it is. I do think that if we all embrace that reality of golf, we might be a whole lot happier.
I would agree wholeheartedly. So tell me, in all your years of teaching, why this book and at this time? Did you just see a lot of people that were doing it wrong, and you said now it's time to correct this, or how did the process come about?
Well, it's kind of the shift to coaching the skills, which I've been doing for years, and the overwhelming body of literature out there is all about the mechanics. And somebody saying that their preference for a way to swing a putter is the right way, right? Because that's true, right? And going over, wait a second. You can have great stroke mechanics and still not putt worth a damn because the stroke's not the skill. So I wanted to take my coaching and everything that, heretofore I produce will be on is on and will continue to be on skill-based instruction with mechanical support. It's a different. I'm reverse engineering the way it's been done for the history of golf,
right,
or at least the modern history of golf.
And is this a trend, do you think, that we're seeing throughout the entire swing process? If that's, are we getting away from the mechanics so much and getting more into the skill aspect?
We are going the wrong direction. We're getting worse in the mechanics. And there's just take a look. We're getting more into the how-to and move your elbow like this, and all that kind of stuff. I think it's going the wrong way. Still, I'm trying to create a movement going the other way. Now that's not. Again, listen. I have force plates. I have 5 different 3D motion analysis systems. I have got all kinds of stuff, right? To analyze what the golfer is doing movement-wise. But we got to get away from thinking that is, okay, I've got that move, I'm done. Because that's just not, there's no magic move, man, that if I do this, I'm going to be just fine. I wish there was.
Yeah.
Right? If you had that, you'd be charging $4,000 a lesson. And if you're charging $4,000 a lesson, you better have that stuff.
Yeah, that magic thing. It's almost like the Ben Hogan magic move, the secret move that he did. Everybody tries to figure out what it is and how he did it, but we're not Ben Hogan, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have unlimited time to hit golf balls.
That's right.
And for all his magic that he had, think about this statement from Ben Hogan, one of my absolute heroes. For all of that, magic that he had, the greatest golf swing ever or whatnot, he said, there is not enough time in the day to hit all the shots you need for a round of golf.
Right.
So what's that tell you? How much magic could he have had to spend 9 hours a day practicing? Maybe the practice was the magic, darn it.
Right. And he was not a very good putter either, was he?
At one point he was, and then later in his career he was not so hot.
Yeah, and then it came out that it was mainly because he was legally blind in one eye and he had trouble with the putt. I don't know how true that is. I don't know how we get talking about Ben Hogan, but is it? There also is a rumor. I don't know if you've ever heard this. That when after he passed away and they went into his locker room, that he was working on a broomstick putter. Have you ever heard that story?
I had not heard that. No.
Yeah, I read that in a book somewhere, and I thought that was very interesting because, again, it gets back to the stroke, like you said. I mean, if you go and you think about what Sam Snead did with the croquet style and all of that crazy stuff that they banned, but it ended up working somewhat, whatever he tried for himself. So.
Right. It might have overcome a psychological lack of trust issue that caused a little bit of a shakiness in the hands when putting. Right. You know, but truly speaking, side saddle putting wouldn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's just not the skill. That was misguided. Like, of course, nothing misguided ever comes out of the rule maker. So.
So, how do you feel about the rule about the broomstick putter?
I don't think a putter should ever be allowed to be anchored, ever. And so when you have one pro that's anchoring it up his forearm, that's just as bad to me as a guy who's anchoring it against his chest. How do you see any difference between them? So if they're going to ban anchoring, you have to ban all anchoring. Once again, genius on the part of the lawmakers.
It does.
I don't get it.
It doesn't make a lot of sense, and what they should have done if they didn't like the broomstick putter, I think on the pro tour they should have banned it there or changed the rule there, but left the rule as it was for for regular people, because it some people it does help.
You know what? I'm okay for regular people doing stuff. In fact, here's a good one for you. Ready for this? Hey, folks at home, cheat. Go have fun. If you don't like where your ball sits and you're not playing somebody for money, move the damn thing. Let's have us more fun playing golf.
I couldn't agree.
Man, if that's the only thing we ever did was have people have more fun playing golf, how about this one? Cut the damn rough so we can find our golf ball.
Well, I have to tell you, there's a course by me that cuts their rough very short, and it's a very flat 9-hole course, and I like playing it because at my age it's a lot easier.
And you can walk up, find your golf ball, smack it again. Could you imagine? They have 6-inch rough, hits the fairway, rolls off into the rough. You can't find your ball. How much fun are we having now?
Yeah. I think the course operators don't always understand the high handicap golfer.
Yeah, understatement of the year, right? They just don't get it. Somehow Augusta National doesn't have very deep rough. People like that place.
Right. So if people want to get this book, and I'm sure they will, where do they go about getting it? And tell us about your website and what other services that you offer.
So I'm John Dunigan. Dunigan is spelled Dunigan, golf. JohnDuniganGolf.com. You'll see my webpage there, and there's a shop button, and actually there's a link right to the book right on the homepage. I think if you click on that, it'll take you to. You'll see a little Martin Hall, my friend from the Golf Channel, great guy, did a nice little 1-minute piece on the book on the Golf Channel, which is fantastic. You'll see that. You'll see the putting training aids that I have, and you'll see coming very soon is what I call. I'm very excited, though overwhelmed with work. JD Golf TV. It's a membership. You're going to join, become a member of the tribe of people who are really working on playing the game of golf better. And it's skill-based instruction with mechanics and all that good stuff thrown in. Fundamental. Anything you want to drive better? Go to the Driver's Ed channel. You want to hit your irons better? Go to the Approaching Greatness channel, and so on. It's going to be really, really cool. and then we'll have a community where, and this is kind of proven that this stuff works. If we have a community of folks who are, showing their improvement, showing their swings, and the community supports golfers, everybody wins. It's going to be really cool.
And will you still be doing your chats from your car?
I will do, that. I will start that up again here shortly. I've got like 40 of them. I've had a lot of really good feedback on those, which is, I'm a big Jerry Seinfeld fan, and he did this comedians in cars getting coffee.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, I got one for that. So I called it Carside Coaching. And on that one, I put almost all of those up in the mental game, because a lot of those were mental game components for competitive golfers to deal with playing, golf under, you have to call it pressure, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
But playing golf better under pressure, preparing to do battle better, and just kind of handling their way through the game of golf. So I'll keep doing those as well. And then we'll have I'm psyched for webinars. All right, let's get on here. Let's get on a Zoom call and questions, and we'll go over, key things to help you actually. I don't care if you know more, folks. I want you to play better, darn it.
Yeah, knowledge isn't always a good thing.
Right.
Sometimes you just got to wing it. Well, John, I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight, and I really enjoyed it, and I hope everybody gets your book and gives it a shot, and we get to learn how to putt a little better and to read the lines better and to get the ball to the hole.
Just give me 2 drills. I'll be so happy. I'm going to change your life with 2 drills per practice session. Thank you very, very much for having me on. I really appreciate it immensely. Keep up the great work.
Thank you so much. And I'll be back right after this.
Sponsor an ad on the podcast. Support our show and let people know about your business. Email us today.
Now it's time to do the calendar. Now it's time to do the calendar. Oh, hooray, let's sing the calendar. Now it's time to do the calendar.
And on the calendar for next week is the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Gary Woodland will be the defending champion at that event, and that's the crazy one that they do every year out in Phoenix on Super Bowl weekend. I guess we'll get to see Phil Mickelson will probably be in that event. He seems to play in that every year. And I don't think Tiger will be there playing back-to-back. He said he's going to adjust his schedule this year. And then the European Tour, the Saudi International, powered by SBIA, will take place in Saudi Arabia. So those are the 2 events on the calendar. LPGA still quiet, as well as the Champions Tour. I think the Champions next week may be kicking in, and maybe even the LPGA. I'll check into that next week and let you know what that schedule is going to be like. And I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank my guest, John Dunigan. We've got a great book, Hold It. Got some different ideas on the world of putting. So check out the book. Pick it up at all major booksellers, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you get your books. Check it out. Or you can get it on his website, as he said. Check it out. And, maybe we'll all learn something. And I want to thank you all for listening to the show. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, wherever you listen or watch the podcast. Hit the subscribe button. That helps me grow the show and expand to new listeners. And until next time, remember, as you walk down the fairway of life, you must smell the roses, for you only get to play one round. Good night, everybody. See you next time.